Coming up on The Returned.
I am on the delivery bed. I'm just thinking, okay, no more. Just the pain goes, and I feel my spirit going into this beautiful, dark, loving place. Then, just at that moment, I encountered my father in spirit form.
Hi, and welcome to The Returned. Here's to everything we'll discover together. Hi, and welcome to The Returned. If you're new here, I'm MJ, and here we share near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, spiritual awakenings, signs from spirit, and the journeys of healers and lightworkers from all around the world. Joined by an extraordinary guest, Jane Dawson. Jane's journey into the spirit world began during a profound near-death experience, near-birth experience, when she crossed over and reunited with her late father. Jane, welcome to The Return.
Hi, MJ. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here, too. Jane, can you take us back to the moment of your near-death experience or near-birth experience?
Yes.
What do you remember most vividly about that experience?
Well, I do call it my near-death, near-birth experience because both of them were happening simultaneously. I was about to give birth to my son I hadn't had any anaesthetic or painkillers. I wasn't in a good way. And little known to me, I was about to go to the spirit world and meet my father. And during my labour, which had been going on for some time, and during which I had told the anaesthetist to go away because I was about to have the baby and then didn't have the baby. And he couldn't come back because this was 24 years ago. And in the National Health Service in the UK, you get one shot at that time of having the anaesthetist. And so he couldn't come back. So the pain was increasingly building. I was approaching the part where the baby has to enter the world. And I just thought to myself, I cannot bear this. I'm too tired physically, mentally, spiritually, every way. I can't be here anymore. And I just surrendered. In my mind, I felt a surrender to life, of life. Leading up to that, I had been in a very unhappy way, very mentally and physically unwell, and in an unhappy relationship. And I was coping with the recent death of my father, two other children, and my mother, who lived next door and was obviously my father's widow. So yes, I had had a lot on my plate before. Oh yes, and a full-time job. I forgot to mention that, MJ. Very typical of us women who think we can do it all until something dramatic happens. So anyway, here I am on the delivery. I suppose it's a bed, and the midwife and my ex-husband are around about me, and I'm just thinking, okay, no more. And the pain goes, and I feel my spirit going into this beautiful, dark, loving place, and I'm like, oh, I'm in bliss. It was an amazing feeling considering my body was labouring at its worst, its hardest self. And then just at that moment, I encountered my father in spirit form, and I'm getting actually just the angel bumps or the goosebumps all over me as I tell you this, because although it's 24 years ago, it's fresh in my mind. But of course, that makes sense because everything's happening simultaneously and it's happening now, although it was 24 years ago. I mean, the human brain can't really accept that, but the spiritual self knows. So here I am. I'm like, oh my God, my father's here. My father's here. And if he had been here in the physical and he'd been sitting next to me, I would have recognised him this much. In that spirit form, I recognised him eternally. So I'm putting my hands out to the ends here. I knew his energy. I knew him. And, you know, the nurses had no idea what was going on because they were all at the business end, if I can say that. And I'm up here. My spirit is in heaven. My consciousness is in heaven with my father, and my body's doing its physical thing. And I just felt this overwhelming love and peace and no pain. Now, I don't know if you know Anita Murjani. She had,
I'm very
yeah,
well familiar.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
she's a fantastic lady. I've spent some time with her, but she died of end-stage cancer and met her father, who she did not have a good relationship with, and lots of other things. I'm sure you'll have her as a guest, MJ. I'm sure you will. And anyhow, I spoke to her about her experience. What she said was very similar to my experience of meeting my father, where there wasn't words. It was all communication from the soul. I'm pointing to my brain, but it's not from the brain. Because guess what? We don't have a brain in non-physical. We don't have a body. We don't have words. So it's like an absorption of energy or information. And what I know my father was giving to me is, it's not your time. He was literally blocking me in a loving way from passing over because he knew from his perspective in non-physical, which is another word I use for heaven, that his daughter had to give birth to this child. And not only that, he knew where my perspective paths were. I couldn't be aware because thought I was in a dead end, mentally, physically, every way. I just thought, well, this is life and it ain't good. So he had all that going on, and I subsequently found out that part of my father's soul is reborn into my son. So it's so weird because my son looks like him. But not only that, as soon as my son could walk and talk, he asked for handcuffs and a baton. And my, and my father was a Glasgow policeman in his youth. So how incredible is that? As if I needed any more. It's just amazing, isn't it? Of course, at that juncture, I'm like, oh, my dad's here, and the pain was gone, and it was just delicious. So the next thing I'm hearing, come on now, come on, Jane, your baby's here, your baby's here. And the nurse and my husband were trying to rouse me, but I was still in the non-physical realms. I, my child was born without, my body did it all itself. And he wasn't a small baby, he was nearly 9 pounds, you know.
My
I
goodness.
know, eye-watering, MJ, eye-watering. And anyway, eventually I was just like this, just leave me, please, just leave me, because I was in bliss. Not that I didn't want to love and embrace my son. Of course I did. But I just wanted to stay with my father in that blissful place of love and peace. Eventually I sat up and took an interest in my darling son, who of course I love and adore very, very
Of
much.
course you did.
Of course. And that was the start of the story. Once I get home, it's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Meeting your father on the other side
Yes.
must have been so moving for you. Hey? And
Incredible.
how long had it been since you seen him?
It only passed 3 months earlier. So, yes.
So
So
he
my
was a new
father,
spirit.
he was
Yeah.
new to the spirit, but I do believe that it doesn't matter whether you've been there a while or whether you've passed over 2 minutes, or actually whether your life is ending. The more your brain is not working, the more of your spirit returns to non-physical. I've quite often connected with people who are in comas or who are unconscious. In fact, the last time I saw my dad, he was unconscious, and I sat down beside him with my 6 month bump, and I held his hand and I whispered in his ear, "Dad, I love you so much. I'm having a boy, and I want you to always look after him." Because in those days I didn't know there was a spiritual existence. I thought that when your body died, the worms ate you, or you went into the incinerator or whatever. And of course, my father didn't hear me, not with his ears, his consciousness did, because his physical body died about an hour later. But during my near birth experience, he actually granted my request to him, always be there for my son. My son was about to make the most dangerous journey of his life through a 4-inch birth canal, where all the child's bones are. And so my father was there for that. And and this is what I find typical of spiritual encounters and spirit communication. It happens on so many different levels. It's never just a one level thing. It's always multi-dimensional and multi-level.
Mhm. Did you feel yourself come out of your body? Or did you just
Consciously,
kind of all
no.
of a sudden, "Where am I?"
Yeah, just, oh, there's no pain. Oh, look, now I'm surrounded by darkness. Oh, this is nice. It was such a relief to not be in that god awful the pain of giving birth.
Yeah.
So obviously I was in I was in a different dimension. I was in a different state of
Oh, mhm.
consciousness, you know, and that it just enabled my father and I's spirit to connect in that beautiful, beautiful way. What a gift! What an absolute gift!
Absolutely. You're very
Very blessed,
fortunate,
very
right?
blessed indeed.
And did your father tell you to return, or did you just return?
No, he didn't. Well, I would say it was more an absorption of information. It wasn't, he didn't really use words so much. But as I
Mhm.
say, very much he was there to make sure I returned. Maybe he was just saying to himself, she wants to come back home to heaven. Let me just go and block. I mean,
You must have had that must have been something though, honestly.
changed
How did
everything.
you yeah, right? How did the experience change your life and your outlook on life and death after that?
In every possible way. Imagine you think there's nothing. Your recently deceased father turns up to show you, sorry, that is a completely wrong assumption. Not only is there nothing, there's an existence happens after physical death. That's going to blow your mind, you know?
Jane, is that where you were before that? Is that where your mind was? Like you didn't
That's where my
have,
yeah, yeah,
right? And
yeah.
did you have any religious
No,
background?
we weren't religious
Okay.
at all. We were Church of Scotland. We were christened, but nobody went. My father was not religious. I don't know anyone in the family who had spiritual leanings, but they obviously must have been because the genetics are passed down in terms of sensitivity. Sensitive's another word for a medium, right? So if you're very sensitive to things, you're also very sensitive to the energy of living people and those who have passed, and angels, as I was subsequently about to find out. So when I was home with this big baby and I was nursing him myself, and life was tough. It was tough. I was tired. I was 39. I had two pre-teenage daughters, a challenging relationship with my partner. My mother, who was a very much distraught widow, was living next door to me. So that was all going on postpartum. So this baby, so I would be sitting feeding him for hours on end, and I was watching the TV medium, John Edwards, because if you go back 24 years, there was a new age on media. No way. John Edwards was the only medium, and he was in Sky TV. And so I would listen to him saying, you know, your loved ones, when they pass, they will give you a sign. The next thing this sign would happen for me, you know, and I'm like, wow, okay, what's this all about? So a good example is I was sitting with my whole family. My mum had come in, so we're all sat there, my husband, my mum, my baby, myself, even our dog, and my two daughters were in their bedrooms down the hall. And all of a sudden, this beautiful aroma of flowers came from nowhere. I mean, it was like, it was so heavenly scented. In fact, it was literally heaven scented and heaven sent. And I'm saying to my mum, what can you smell? She goes, flowers. I wonder where that's from. In my mind, I'm thinking, I know where this is from. And I shouted to my daughters, what can you smell, girls? Flowers, mum. So I said to my mum, this is dad, this is my dad, her husband, sending this. And see when we all acknowledged it, the beautiful perfume disappeared as soon as it had arrived. That was the most fantastic sign. This was my dad starting to give me signs to back up his appearance during my birth. This was what this was. And that escalated. Items of clothing started to disappear, particularly my husband who had OCD. So if anything disappeared, it was disastrous for him. And he would be looking everywhere in the house, the washing basket, asking the daughters, and then a month later, the thing would reappear exactly the last place he had seen it. I would have coins in open-toe sandals. And another remarkable thing is that I was in at home with my little baby on my own. I'd sat him in his little seat on the dining table. I went through to the kitchen to make some tea, came back and had been moved round. He was fast asleep. I knew this was my dad coming to say, I see him, I'm with him. It's exactly the type of thing he would have done. He would have come and looked and moved the little chair around to see him. I'm like, wow. And the phenomena and the miracles and the things that's happened to me and those around me, like now clients, because then, you know, I started being really interested in thinking, I need to find out more about this. I will tell you one thing, when I was 10 years old, I had this persistent thought, what happens when you die? What happens when you die? What happens when you die? Hence quite young to be having that thought. But I do believe, like I was born an adult. You may have that feeling as well. That I was never really childlike, and I was pretty mature at 10. Anyway, I made a decision to go to a spiritualist church, which there are many of in the UK. Um, and so I went down there myself, and I opened the door and it was dark and smoky. And there was an old man in a grey suit doing what I now know as mediumship. And I was there thinking to myself, I don't know what I expected, but this really isn't it. So they went away, and then pretty much life got in the way until this happened. But my life had not made a good life for myself because I was in self-loathing mode all my life. And when this experience happened to me, I stepped on a course, a path of self-love as well as spirituality. So that's pretty amazing outcome. Yes, even for myself personally. Never mind the amount of people who have been uplifted, healed, inspired by, you know, the information that comes through from the spirit world.
Jane, when did everything begin to open up for you?
Well, it was that interest. It was that thing with my dad, and then that interest when I was nursing my baby, and then these signs, and then the thought to myself, I need to find out more about that. But I wasn't instantly healed from my depression or my sadness or my ill health. I wasn't. That was a journey. But shortly after I had the baby, my eldest daughter, I caught her lighting fires, small fires in the house and out in the grass, and I thought, my poor daughter, she's got she's got some kind of trauma because of this new baby. This was a different partner, so it wasn't her father I had the child with. So I had a chat with her. I said, Lauren, what is it with these fires you're lighting? She goes, Mum, I'm doing spells. I'm like, spells? Are you telling me you're a witch? Because again, that freaked me because of my lack of spiritual knowledge. She's like, no, it's wicked. Wicked? Don't even go there with me. She was still at school. She was probably 14 or 15. It transpired that we went on a spiritual path together. We walked a spiritual path. She was 15, I was 40. And for most of that time, I thought I was really just supporting her because of my crippling self-loathing. She didn't have this background. She just asked me one day, can you buy me angel cards? We were at a mediumship demonstration. No, no, Lauren, you're too young. Of course I did buy them for her. She took them to school the next day. She read for all her students and all the teachers, and she was immediately recognised as someone who had a fantastic gift. And then she was headhunted by Hay House in her 20s, and so she's a Hay House author as well. She has a wonderful, yeah, she's a Hay House author. So yeah, so isn't it something? I'll tell you about Hay House. I mentioned to you before we started recording, I went to the Hay House Writers Retreat some years ago in Hawaii. And there I met Doreen Virtue when she still loved angels and Dr. Rain Dyer. And it was only a month before he passed his spirit. Anyway, it was a great event. But the thing was, the prize winners were already there because part of this event was you were to submit your book, and two people would get a publishing deal. But the thing was already decided as this unknown to me. So anyway, I'm at home trying to quickly finish off my book and submit it. Meanwhile, Hay House is calling my daughter, can you please submit a manuscript? They asked her to submit a manuscript. And of course, I put mine in, which was rejected by Hay House. They came up and watched her do her mediumship, absolutely loved her, and were delighted to take her on board. Because they had an audience, they had a young audience they wanted to attract. She was young, beautiful, educated, and gifted. So I was delighted, absolutely delighted for her. She's still definitely a medium, but she's had two babies recently, so she's probably taking a bit of a break from that. So yeah, so now I'm just thinking as we're talking, of course my father didn't only know my future path, he knew my daughter's as well, and that has just occurred to me. My goodness.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, well there you go.
Hmm.
You see, we're in each other's energy. This
Yeah.
is what I'm finding now as I speak to lovely people like you. I'm finding I get downloads of information that I can share, and I get so surprised. I think, really? Really? Okay.
How
So far.
did, actually, I should ask you this.
Mhm.
Why do you think this happened to you?
I think I was to fulfill my potential. I think I was to fulfill my potential. Part of that was my spiritual side about helping to uplift others. The other part of that was learning how to love myself and be, you know, hold myself dear. And for that, I had to realize that and you and I and everybody are the same energy as the angels, Jesus, God, all these ascended masters. And once you get that, once you can really absorb that information, not in your brain, but absorb it to your soul, because your soul knows that fact. it becomes increasingly hard to hate yourself. Would you hate an angel? Would you hate God or the creator, whatever title, or of course you wouldn't. And we're part of them. So that took a long time to overcome things and absorb and in me. So I do believe that was my, if you like, my personal soul growth in that respect. Another respect was to be an uplifter. Abraham Hicks calls all us spiritual people uplifters. And I love that. I can call myself a medium, a channel, a healer, all these wonderful things. But at the end of the day, I desire to uplift people, and I work a lot with humour when I'm doing my work, and I laugh at myself a lot, not in an unkind way, but just make light. And recently I've said to myself, for the rest of my physical life, I want to have fun and enjoy myself as well as do my spiritual work, which I know is evolving and developing all the time, as is my own soul, as is everybody's.
I was just thinking of, and I just had to write it because I write notes as I'm always listening, right? So I don't forget. But as you said that about being a channel,
Yeah,
or even a medium, or, we're all something.
yeah.
I thought about this the other day, and, a YouTube channel is like a
Aha,
channel,
it
right?
is, of course. Wonderful.
So the energy comes in and then it goes out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so it just blew my mind when I got into that, but it just came to me again, channel, to talk about the YouTube channel as
Yeah.
being a actual channel,
Well, you're a
right?
high vibration channel. So are the other NDE and spiritual transformation broadcasters. Of course, there's channels where it'll be more negative stuff. So I very much advise people to stay away from anything negative. And you'll know this yourself, but if you pay attention to negative stuff, it multiplies in terms of that you attract more of it, and that becomes your overarching thought process. Been there, got the t-shirt, and refuse to let negativity control me. There's very little we can control. If we're lucky, we can control our thoughts in this life, and it's a thing we have to work at doing.
Because you talked about self-love, I'm wondering how important is self-love in someone's awakening experience or journey?
Um, if you cannot feel self-love for yourself, your life is going to be rubbish because of law of attraction. And I think you and I both experienced that, and our personal relationships are your greatest teacher, are our greatest teacher. So your own personal relationship will 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 bring everything up, will bring your vibration up, and will totally zoom your spiritual awareness so high as well, if you want to do that. But I think they're intertwined. I think they dovetail: self love, spiritual awareness, openness. They definitely dovetail. And when I'm talking to you about this, I can just feel immense joy in my heart. I hope you feel that as well. I know that when we do these things, these broadcasts, I know that there's massive healing and uplifting energy comes from the non-physical, the angels, and people will get it. As I said before, there's no time. You might watch this. Someone might watch this in 5 years or even 50 years. I hope so for you, for our sake. We might be long gone, but this uplifting, healing, inspirational energy will still beam out. It's so important. Your work is so important. Other YouTube positive channel, it's so important. You're uplifting the world.
I know it is really important as well because that just if without self-love, how do you love someone else? And then also it bogs down your energy body, right? Like
Totally.
when you need to be rising up in vibration, and if you're not loving yourself, then that would push your vibration down. It
That
would be
well,
lower, right?
it holds it, doesn't it, at a certain level? But when you talk
Yeah.
to someone about loving yourself, like, I mean, years ago, I'd be like that. How on earth would I start doing that? You know? How it seems like a huge leap. It can happen instantly. If you ask for the angels of the spirit world's assistance with it, they will definitely assist. Like, they never say no. They're open 24/7. So let's make it a habit to use them if we don't already. And they love to support you with everything, in particular self love, because they love and adore us. We love and adore our own soul more than we'll ever know on planet Earth. Of course, if you want to learn how to find self love, a great place would be the Louise Hay stuff. I mean, it's timeless. Louise has been gone a few years now, but her stuff is timeless, and it's a good place to start. And in my mind, I'm hearing here, tell them about Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, which is a Susan Jeffers book. She's also passed. I believe that was the first self-empowerment, self-love book that I ever wrote, because I was crippled by fear of even saying my own name in front of like a group of colleagues at work. I was crippled by fear. It's
I had
horrible.
that same
It's
thing.
horrible.
I used to carry an amethyst in my pocket.
Yeah.
When I'd have to get up and talk, I'd be, like, gripping this amethyst, like, "Please." And then I had in the other pocket a rose quartz. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I need your power, I need your energy to get through this," and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it just happened.
Yeah.
And then it
In fact,
just was like, "Ah,
oh,
what was I
this
afraid
is
of?"
like, actually, I can stand up and channel or do mediumship. I super enjoy it. I super, super enjoy it. What a turnaround. But all this is fear. It's fear because, oh, what people are going to say, oh, I'm not good enough. All this nonsense that so many of us suffer from. And oh, God help the youngsters who think that social media is reality. You know, I used to call Facebook fake book, but I think Instagram and TikTok are like a million times worse, you know?
Oh my goodness, I could go on about
Well,
that because it is so difficult. But in the same way, it is also able to help us reach more people,
exactly.
right? So I think
Exactly.
it depends on what you're putting into it, what you're
Yes.
doing on it. And that's how I feel like social media, I don't sit and just use, I use as a tool
Yes. Yes.
to
If
do work.
you have to be aware that as soon as you look at something in social media, the algorithm gives you a million times of that thing, and it can
Yes.
soon put you down an unpleasant rabbit hole. And before you know where you are, you're feeling negative, you're feeling angry, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling things that are far away from spiritual love and where you want to be, you know. In fact, I have
Yeah,
a
I can't believe it, how it
it's
can do that.
it is so powerful, and they know about our brains and young people's brains, and people have a lot more time now than they used to have, you know, a lot more
Yeah.
time now.
You
But
know, I think sometimes we consume too much negative
we
out
do.
there. I think that if we consume, that's why in my household, we stopped watching TV. This year, I believe, is 14 years we stopped.
Yeah.
And now we just consume and only listen to like high frequency music, meditation music, and just beautiful music, piano and
Yeah.
everything that is uplifting.
Absolutely.
That's always playing in my house. Even my dog loves it.
Yeah, well,
But,
you know, music's a beautiful frequency. If it's not death
yeah.
metal, that's a horrible frequency. But the thing,
Oh, I just couldn't
oh,
do
I
it.
know, I know. Anyway,
Yeah, we
also
don't
love,
have TV on at all. I literally, watch YouTube. and then I choose what goes in here, right?
Absolutely. Let me tell you about a dear friend of mine, her husband,
Sure.
who loved to watch unsolved crimes. They watched a lot of them. They live in Mexico, and one night an attacker broke in randomly from nowhere. I mean, they live in a gated community. This guy was psycho. He thought something about the husband, and he nearly killed the husband, who already has a brain condition.
Oh
And my
my.
dear friend, the wife, she was in her bedroom cowering, calling the police, wondering if she was going to be killed next. He assaulted this man with an iron thing for about 20 minutes. And we were talking, they live, as I said, in Mexico. They came to Scotland to visit. They hadn't told me anything about this, but I looked at the husband and I said to him, "You've had a near-death experience," never realising it was the result of being attacked in his own home. And then the whole story came out, and they're like, "How could that happen? How could that happen?" And then I said, "What are you watching?" "Oh, we watched that." I said, "Oh my God, you guys are too sensitive, too high vibration to be, please don't watch any more of it. Please." And I think it's a real eye opener, a real warning for people to be careful what you watch, because you're attracted that energy. Oh, I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch anything crime related. I don't watch movies of any sort of violence. The last time I accidentally watched something at a torture scene, I was nearly sick and had to run out the cinema. And just, if you're empathic at all, no, stay away from it. Stay so far
Jane,
away.
what do
Yeah.
you think that, in your opinion, is humanity waking up
Well, there's a lot of contrast.
spiritually?
There's a lot of contrast in planet Earth right now. So in my head, I'm hearing probably about 20% are awakening up. So there's going to be a tipping point. So this is education. What you're doing is education, you know, for those who are ready. For
Yeah,
those who are ready. You know that old saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink?
that's
So
right.
that's one part of it. Definitely we are ascending in a lot of ways. There's another part of it where people are still absorbed in negativity, like watching the news is quite disastrous. That's again
Yes,
a very negative thing. But if I see something awful, I send love and healing to the situation or to people involved. And that is a great thing to do. Don't watch it. Because people don't realize sending loving energy to a person or a situation helps so much. And, it can be a war in a country, it can be an individual who lives next door to you. It doesn't matter. So there's that going on. But quite a lot of people are leaving planet Earth. Have you noticed that? Quite
I
a lot of
really
people
actually
saying,
have noticed that.
over and out, thanks very much. Um, Quite suddenly.
What's going on with that?
Well, I think probably their soul knows, not really fancying this contrast right now. Let me just go home. I can give I can give you an example. This involves my dog, actually. And you
Yeah,
know that all doggies do go to heaven, so do cats, so do all animals. I've brought all animals through my mediumship, including goldfish, for a young boy that had that as a pet. Anyway, um, I was moving from a house with a garden into a flat without a garden, and my little dog was called Crystal. And I was looking at Amazon, so we can get this for the balcony, we can get that, they get some ads for you can do your business there. Well, she'd been unwell, and the last week before she passed, she was really quite unwell, and I knew she was going to pass, and she passed 5 days before I moved here. And her little doggy soul had said, I'm not going to a flat. I'm not going to go somewhere where I have to do
yeah.
my business in artificial grass. Jane is starting a new phase of life. I'm going to be with her from the spirit world. I know it's so sad, but also I know myself that I'll be doing a lot more traveling, and I just have been up and down to England. there, and that would have been hassle trying to have someone to watch her, and she wouldn't have felt good about it, you know. And actually, I spent some time with a gentleman called the Reverend Bill MacDonald. I don't know if you know his story, but if you don't, check him out, and I'm sure he would guest for you. And we went to, oh, he was hosting a lovely place called the Harry Edwards Foundation, in near London in England. I'm trying to remember the exact name of the place. The village is called Share. But Harry Edwards was a very, very famous healer from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. He died in the 1970s. You'll find stuff about him on YouTube. He literally had wheelchair bound people stand up, and he did this in public. And Reverend Bill does the same. I've had amazing successes and miracles as well, but again, it's not about us. It's about the spirit and the belief of the person who's receiving the healing. Um, I forgot the initial point I was making to you there. About, oh yes, so that would have been really hard for me to do if Crystal had still been here. But I was able to do it at my leisure and make great connections and uplift while I was there. It was wonderful. If any viewers are watching and they fancy coming across to do something spiritual, please look and see the Harry Edwards Foundation. I hope you get a chance to come and see. It's a really special place.
I would love to.
Yeah, and I also used to work. I always used to train at Arthur Finley College, where mediums all over the
Oh,
world.
yeah, Arthur Finley. I
Yeah,
know that place. Yeah. Yeah.
some people call it Hogwarts.
Yes, that's actually was the that's true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I was there probably 20 odd years ago at the beginning of my spiritual journey. I was there a lot. And I thought mediums were God's right hand men and women in those days. Little did I realise there's quite a lot of ego involved. And yes, but anyway, I've got to be grateful for a lot of things that I learned at Arthur Finley College. And I've got to be grateful for the fact that even I am still a medium despite one or two of the lectures not due to it. But I believe it's quite different now. It's a lot more calm and supportive than it used to be in those days. Also, another special place for your viewers that would love to come to the UK.
Ugh, I actually that's on my bucket list.
Yeah. Oh, you.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I really, really, really want to go to the UK and I want to do a lot of sightseeing there. So that is one thing I've always wanted to do.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll
I,
happen.
I'm hoping this will happen.
Yeah.
You know, Jane, I have always wondered about mediumship and then there's other things too about towards that. But one of the questions I wanted to ask was, um, when you receive messages,
Mm.
is it always just from loved ones in spirit, or do you ever get messages for humanity?
Well, yes is the answer to all of those. Yes, I get. My frequency's open for whichever loving being wants to connect. For me, it's attention and focus. So say I'm doing an event where people are coming along. I have a show called Hello from Heaven. That's what I currently call my show. So if I'm doing it online or if I'm doing it in person, people are expected to hear from their loved ones. So the loved ones come through. The loved ones come through and give them the information. Sometimes angels will come through too, and there's a wonderful healing vibration. But when I work with other beings, I know it's a different vibration. It's subtle, but I know it's a different vibration. And when I'm doing something like this, I often get, if you want to call it channeling, but I think we all channel in one way or another, because our brain's really a receiver of vibration from spirit, and then it puts out vibration and frequency. And our brain has to translate the vibrations and the frequencies into human words and give them out. But I believe everyone does it to one extent or another. Yeah, quite often I'll get a message like, for example, what I learned about my dad also knows my daughter's life path. That was just news to me. But the last time I was asked about is planet Earth going to be okay, and I received this download, if you want, of this information that yeah, there's a group of beautiful beings who basically circle planet Earth and protect it from harm at this time. You know, everything in this universe has an end point or has to change. So yeah, it's I did, there's this saying that Abraham Hicks has, hocus pocus focus. And we chatted a bit about it earlier. And focus and intention is everything when you're working either in life or with the spirit when you want to, communicate from your higher self, with your
Hmm.
higher self, from angels, from loved ones, from galactic beings, whatever you want to call them, ETs, aliens, whatever it is. If you're open and you focus and you have the intention, that will happen. Yeah.
Back on everything you in your experience and your return and your journey, what does awakening to your divine connection mean to you?
Realizing that there's beautiful little spark of light that's the real you inside this human body, meat suit, whatever you wish to call it, and actually practicing igniting that, making that flame grow larger and larger till love engulfs you, joy, you're joyful most of the time, miracles are everyday events, and your life is happy because we're living a human life. We've got to make the most of that. And by encouraging your spiritual growth and encouraging feelings of self acceptance and self love, that's how everything's going to flow and be great for you. Yeah, you can feel that, can't you?
You give me such a relaxed energy. It's like I'm sitting here and I almost forgetting what to say because I feel
Yeah,
extreme relaxation.
right.
Sorry if it seems like I just feel very relaxed listening to you.
Well, that's
Very.
fantastic because that's why I
I
ask
think
people,
so.
heal people, comfort people, uplift them. And they always do it. They always do it. People will say to me, sometimes I do lives. I usually do one or two lives a week on my social media pages, and hopefully I'll start again on YouTube soon. And people will type things like, I feel so comforted when I'm listening into you. And, you know, you-
Yeah.
and I love that. And I'll say to the spirit world, bring more of that because people need that.
I'm not even kidding how relaxed I am.
But
Like almost like I could just sit here and
you sit back,
close my eyes and listen to you talk.
maybe
You're
the
on your own.
maybe the Scottish accent helps as well. I don't know.
So
But
wonderful.
yes,
Just your energy is lovely.
thank
Lovely.
as
You're very
is yours,
welcome.
MJ.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
this calmness and comfort helps your mind to think and helps your mind to channel your questions as well, and channel your comments and your guided. So everything is a co-creation, isn't it? Everything's a co-creation. When you try and do things without your soul energy, it doesn't really end well.
You're exactly right. You couldn't have been more right. Seriously. Before we wrap up, Jane, for those
Yes,
interested in connecting more deeply with you, can you please talk to us about your published works, your resources that are available to help support others on their spiritual journey?
of course, I'd be delighted to. So I have one book out. It's called Be Your Own Medium, and that this gives you basically it's a bit of a teaching memoir. So what happened to me? What did I learn from it? What you can learn from it. This is me, and this is my lovely dad who did that thing. who showed up and changed my life. Changed my life. My website is janedawson.co.uk because I'm a Brit. janedawson.co.uk. I'm also on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Insta, and YouTube. And I will be doing various live online events. I'll be doing my Hello from Heaven. I'll be doing the Angel and Spirit Circle, where everyone gets a beautiful message. And I'll be teaching classes on connecting with the angels and connecting with spirit, all that great stuff. I like to try and keep things reasonably priced so that everyone can can join. Can join. I'm still working at another business. I mean, a spirituality, a business. Well, we have to eat, you know, we have to eat. And although we're given our time and our love very freely, and I know most of us do this all the time, not just when we're focused on, you know, this type of thing or on clients. So it has to be a business in terms of that, but it's a love-filled, love-fueled business. And I also have another business which is also love-filled and love-fueled, but demands a lot of practical input from me. So I'm just transitioning to be doing my spiritual work full time. So resources will be building from what they are right now.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, I'm so excited for now and the future. Well, now especially because it's the only time we have, isn't it? Now, living the now, baby, living the now. Yeah, I think we've had a great time. I think you've had a great time living in the now throughout this lovely interview.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I can't believe how relaxed I am. Oh my goodness. I literally haven't felt so relaxed before. I like feel
Oh,
really good. Yeah, I
oh,
do. Yeah,
great.
thank you. Jane, what message would you most love to share with everyone watching or listening today?
Okay, this has just come into the front of my brain. It's be quiet. Now, I hope the spirit world's not telling me to shut up now. Or they may be, but I think what they mean is take time to breathe, take time to just be, even if it's 3 or 4 breaths. You know, if you inhale, you breathe out, it brings you straight back to this moment. Here we are in this moment. I can actually feel the love and the swirling energy round about me when I do that. So that's very, very simple thing. Practically, I would say enjoy your life. It's short. I've wasted a lot of mine stressing, being anxious, regretting things, etc., etc. No more of that nonsense now. From now on in, fun, laughter, kindness, good times. And I
I
wish
love
the
that.
same for you and all your lovely viewers. That's how we'll uplift this planet.
So beautiful. What a beautiful person. I'm so
I,
happy that you're here.
I am so
I am
happy
so
to be
happy.
here. Delighted.
Uh, right? Oh, Jane, you're something. Jane, thank you for sharing your story and your presence you bring to this world. Your journey reminds us that every life is touched by the unseen, and miracles can unfold when we open ourselves to divine guidance. To
Absolutely.
right? To everyone listening today, I hope this story reminds you that you are never alone, that loving guidance and support and miracles are always closer than you think. Whether you're seeking clarity, peace, or a deeper connection, trust that Spirit is always reaching out. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and keep returning to the truth within you.